The following presentation is a Deej Experience production and may not be recorded, rebroadcasted, or retransmitted without the express written permission of Deej Experience, LLC. For more information, visit us online at www.deejexperience.com. Good Saturday morning to you here live from the Rossbacker Studios. My name is Scott Lockwood here with all my guys here today. Mr. Dewey Hurd, with the exception of Rob Elchinski, of course. Mr. Dewey Hurd back in the saddle this week. We've got Mr. Stephen Mountain joining with us today, and a special guest from Lifted Health, Mr. Rich Gawlinski. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
How are we all doing today? Dewey, how was your week this week?
Good.
Good?
Good and quiet.
Just good? You didn't do anything special? I know you didn't play pickleball because I asked you to, and you were chickened out.
I'm sorry. It'll come around. It'll come around.
Steve-O.
It's been busy. But it's been good. I've been good.
Good?
Yeah.
A lot of work stuff, or?
Well, get into a quick little story here. My brother rides a snowmobile, right? About a month ago, he had a little accident on it. Probably the dumbest way you could get hurt on a snowmobile. It wasn't a high-speed crash or anything like that. It was he's at one of his buddy's house, and he thought it was a little pile of snow. He's going to go kind of up and over it kind of thing.
Right.
Turns out it's where his driveway is. He's got the cement blocks on the sides. It's like a 5-foot drop-off. So he nosed the sled over it, and then he kind of realized, like, uh-oh, we're going to go over the handlebars here. And he did, landed on his shoulder, messed his shoulder up. So taking care of the cows and stuff at home on the farm. Been a little busier with that now since he's kind of out of commission, but it's getting a little better now, so
Well, that's
we're
good.
on the right track.
Good. It's good to know that he's healing at least, right?
Yeah, like if you get hurt on a snowmobile, you kind of want to tell people, like, yeah, I was flying around this bend and like this deer jumped in front of me or something. But no, you're just kind of going 5 miles per hour in a driveway, and kind of comical.
Got run over by your own sled.
Uh-huh.
It's just never good.
No.
All right, well, our special guest here today is Mr. Rich Gawlinski. Rich from Lifted Health. Rich, how did you do this week? Anything special?
It's special. Every week I got to work with the boys in baseball. I got to work with some volleyball players, some track athletes, a couple hockey kids. Full week. It was good stuff. And we're training for nationals as well, so it's an action-packed week for me.
Always, right?
Yeah.
You never get to rest. A small business owner is not easy.
No.
We know from example, but when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, they say.
It's true. Yeah.
So, well, hey, welcome everybody in here. The Deej Peeps podcast here at the Rossbacker Studio, of course, is brought to you by Dynasty Construction. I want to thank Josh Dine and his sponsorship all year long for addition sidings, decks, roofings, bathrooms, kitchens, remodeling, whatever you need. Give Josh Dine and the guys a call at 814-663-8888. And with that, we'll start our program off. So, for those who don't know, Rich has worked with our student athletes here for quite some time now, but he's recently been brought into the light more on some other stuff. So we're going to start it off with the lifting end and the training with the lifters and stuff first. And if you just want to give us a brief background before you get into the current stats for more recent times here.
Yeah. Well, I've only been lifting weights for maybe 10 years. Most of my experience in things were more basketball, running. I was a track athlete, cross country in college. So last 10 years we've been lifting, and we've accumulated pretty good amount of success. 15 state titles, 13 national titles, 5 world titles, greatest ever push-pull. And then I have a ton of lifters that are qualifying for things constantly, but right now we're aiming towards national, so I don't let them look at anything they've done. They got to look forward to the things they're going to do. But national should be fun. We have a good group. Last year we won 7 national titles at this meet, and this year we're going to go for 5 or 6. So it'll be fun to represent Corey there again.
Again.
Yeah.
And again and again.
Yeah.
So we got a couple videos we'll go over here real quick. I snagged them off Facebook. So this is was this before you went down to the state championship?
I don't know. I don't know what video it is.
Oh, you can't see it.
No.
Okay. Well, it's
if you tell me the number, I could tell you when it was.
yeah, I don't know. It looks like 590. I'm not sure.
So that probably was this week. That was my training weight this
Okay.
week. I did that for 2. Next week I'll go up to 620. The week after that 640, and then at the meet I'll try to pull 660.
Okay. The next video we're going to roll here. This is the breaking news video.
Yeah.
The Pennsylvania state championship. Now you got 2 different records for this, right?
Yeah, this was USPA. Powerlifting's a lot like boxing. There's a ton of federations, and they all have records. So one of the records is strictly a federation record. The other one is an across-the-board, every fed. And it's Submaster, which is my age group, 242, which is my weight class, and then deadlift. And I pulled 555.8 or something. It's kilos, so it doesn't come out even.
Okay. 555.87 is what it says on the
Yeah,
certificate.
yep.
So yeah, that's I don't
655, right? 655.
yeah, sorry. We'll pull it up on screen here. I almost docked you a whole 100 pounds, kilos or whatever there. 655.87. And that was Submasters 35 to 39.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then you got the open one as well.
Yes. Yep.
So what you're not the only one that does this. Like we have other people, contestants in Corey that compete in these things.
Yeah. I've got 14 at my facility right now that do it.
14.
Yeah.
So you don't really hear of it a whole lot. That's why I brought you in today, because whenever a state championship is won, I think it's important for the city to know that you live in, right? I mean, that's what is it about this competition? Like, how do you prepare for it? How do you get people interested in it?
Yeah.
And what's the training regiment like?
So I actually never ask anyone to powerlift. I'm very big on whatever your goals are. That's what we're going to do. I try not to make or push people into my interests. But typically what happens is, especially when other people, they'll see it going on. They see the benefit. They start to learn fitness and realize that maybe their goals fit a little bit better into this category. And then I'll lightly push them into it. Their first meet, I actually only let them do 1 lift. There's 3 lifts in powerlifting. I usually only let them do 1 lift just to get their feet wet. And from there on, we'll open it up to other lifts. But when you start doing 3 lifts, the training is rough, especially near the end. My training style is a very classical pyramid style, where by the end, you're moving a lot of weight, not a lot of reps, but you're moving a lot of weight. So there have been weeks where I've pulled 640, squatted over 6, and then benched 5 something. And that's all within a 5-day period. So my body doesn't love it. And I know that I don't love it, but I try not to put people in that position so that they don't burn out. But powerlifting is fun because it's so off the grid. The people who are there because they love it, and everyone is kind of like their own little brotherhood and sisterhood, especially like the girls. It's taken off. When I got into lifting, a 400-pound pull would have blown your mind. Mandy pulls 400 pounds. The world record right now is 630 something for women, which is insane. So the sport's taken off, and it's just nice to see my people find a network of people that see value in such a weird niche. Because like you said, you just won't hear about it. I mean, There have been years where I've won the Arnold and no one knew. It just doesn't get out there. Because it's a niche-y thing, and I tell the kids and the people, don't take it too personal. People don't understand, so it's hard for them to appreciate what you just did, but just know that I appreciate it, and everyone who was there appreciated seeing you do it, and that once you get into that mindset, it's a very, very fun sport to do.
And for the record, anytime anything happens, please feel free to email us, because we love, because it ties right into what we do in a nonchalant kind of way, because what you do is maybe a different niche, but you're taking that niche and you're applying it to our high school athletics, which is in turn lifting up the entire community. Yeah. Because kids are performing better. They're bringing attention to the area.
Right.
It's helping the businesses out. It's helping me out, because now what I do is I'm filming the kids who are putting in the work that you do with them, and now they're off to college, right?
Yeah.
Now the goal, and you and I just talked about this before we came on, it's about getting them to come back home and give other people what they had.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually we've got the state deadlift championship here in Corey in July. I was able to convince the organization to let me hold that. Obviously, I have huge plans for the future. This year it's going to be maybe confined a little bit more, but the hope is, because we are such an amazing sports town, we really are. We're an amazing sports town. We have tons of families investing time and money. Our kids are amazing. Our parents are amazing. My facility is all the way out in Elgin, which isn't a terribly long drive, but it's far enough where, people are driving a half hour to bring their kid out. And it just shows the mindset of this town is to find their potential. And I'm very blessed to get to do that in Corey, and I make sure every time I'm anywhere, I talk about how amazing it is that I'm even at this meet, because they're not cheap, and I have a facility to train at that has all the best equipment, and it's 100% because of the town. And the better we can make the town through our little niche, I really think we have limitless possibilities about how amazing and the amazing things we can do, especially as a core group. You guys, the kids need to understand that the visual, for recruiting purposes, the fact that you have access to film is huge, especially in today's recruiting world. NIL is going to make it so that a lot of these schools are not even going to look at high school athletes. Why would you? You can go get another college athlete that you already know what they can do. So having that visual is huge. Take advantage of it. And the fact that your parents and your grandparents can share in these moments, it's a big deal. It really is a big deal, and it's awesome to get to be a part of this little community.
And when you get to blend it all together, right? Just throw it in the blender.
Yeah.
See what comes out of it.
Right.
And if it doesn't taste just right, now you can mix something else in and say, okay, let's try this now.
Yep.
There's a lot that can be done with a little.
Yeah.
And I say this to other people out there who think that what they do might not be as important, because I thought that way for the longest time.
Yeah.
I'm just a video guy. What good am I going to do? I have learned over the years, probably more specifically the last 3 or 4 years, how important our role is now in Corey athletics.
Right.
Our goal is to put our kids in the best possible light, and with that, we can now share it with families who are in Florida or Texas or North Dakota or wherever they're from. So now they're still attached somehow, and they're starting to watch. And we, the college scouting and whatnot. And it's just phenomenal when everybody pulls together what happens. So there was something brought up yesterday, and I'm going to put a little spotlight on it, because somebody's training for some kind of a 8K long run or something. What is it?
It's a Spartan Beast. I don't know if you know Spartan.
Yeah,
runs
the
around it, Rich.
last year that it's going to exist.
That's the Beast on the Bay.
Beast on the Bay,
Yeah, this
gotcha.
is a Spartan run. It's a 13, like a half marathon distance.
Okay.
Trail run, essentially, 30
Yeah.
plus obstacles to
We
do.
have a runner in the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah. That's a lot of distance.
I don't like running.
I didn't like running when I did it. I try not to do it. I'm big enough now. If you're going to catch me, you're gonna catch me. I'm just going to have to deal with it.
So our idea was, he thought about, maybe getting on a lifted health program. And I'm like, if you do that, he's like, we'll get it done, sponsored by Deej. And I'm like, great. If we're going to do that, I'm going to put a GoPro on you and on Rich because I want to see you cry.
Yeah. Well, for marketing purposes, I never want anyone to cry publicly. I don't want that.
Publicly is a key word there.
Right. I mean, maybe it'll be one of those covering of the GoPro, but crying in public's never desirable. You never want that. But yeah, I'd love to help out with that. And actually, I love those races because there's so much heart involved in that. Because there's just getting from A to B. It's not the running because there's stuff every mile.
Yeah, basically.
Right. So you're only running a mile at a time, but you're running a mile and then you have to physically do something that typically is not runner.
Yeah.
Typically not runner.
Like monkey bars.
Right.
Carry a 50-pound sandbag
Right.
through the woods on a little
So
snaking trail.
It shows that, and I though I hated running, it was probably the thing that set my mind up to what I am now because I learned to just blank out. Just ignore. It's something I had to do. The finish line was there. It didn't matter what was between A and B. I had to get there. And you get like a runner's high where you just blank out. And I love that. And you can tell when someone has never had to run because they don't know how to shut it off. It's hard. So good for you doing that stuff.
Yeah,
I couldn't do it.
it's fun.
If there's not donuts at every stop, I'm not even participating.
Yeah, last year was rough. I did one out in Colorado Springs, so mile high elevation.
Yeah.
Got to like mile 9-ish, started to cramp up in the calves, and it was all downhill from there.
You
But
said
I made it.
You said high elevation. I'm cramping right now.
Yeah,
I'm
it
just sitting
was a
here.
little rough, but we made it through. The goal this year is to not cramp, so.
You know what's cool is we now have motorized vehicles to get from A to B. We don't have to run anymore.
Yeah.
So this is very archaic. Good for you. I just get on like a motorcycle or a truck, go 9 miles. You're running it.
Yeah.
That's like amazing. It's amazing to think about. When I was young, they would make us. So I went to Edinburgh, and the first day of practice, it said 2 mile fun run. I was like, oh man, college is nothing. People are like, this is going to be hard. He dropped us off at Mill Village and made us run back to Edinburgh. And I was like, oh, that's a long distance. And now I'm like, I should have just quit. I should have just sat down. I should have waited for a car to come by. That's what I would do now. I'm just not going to do this. I'm going to call DoorDash and I'm not doing this anymore.
Well, I call DoorDash a lot, but it's not for that particular reason. So
That would be my first call.
So, so you got the whole powerlifting scene going.
Yeah.
We got a lot of good people in Quarry doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you offer more than just that, though. You're a skill-specific trainer.
Yep.
My question is, you've got Steve's generation, right? The young bucks just out of school who like to run.
That was 10 years ago, by the way, just out of school.
I'm not saying just.
I know.
But you also offer programs for the elder generation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what would a program look like if Dewey and I want to decide to get healthy and get off the couch?
So usually when it's always goal specific, first of all. I give everyone like a grace period to learn if they mean what they're saying. So a lot of people use verbiage like tone up, which is very unspecific. It's very popular right now, but it's very unspecific because that could just mean lose body fat, could mean increase muscle, could mean a combination of the two. When you find out what you have to do to either of those, sometimes it's not worth it, and then your goal is more, I just want to be able to get out of the couch without breathing heavy. So it's really goal specific, but we take your current capabilities into consideration. You know, you're not doing, I don't film the stuff day one. The stuff people see online, which are weird and hard, that's like 2 years in, 1 year in, that's 10 years in. I have people maybe 10 years. So we take and we do like a fitness test first for me. And that's where I see where your cardio is, where your flexibility is, where your strength is. But I see how you react to guidance. I don't yell. First of all, my dad voice and my appearance that's just not going to work. It's going to scare people. Right? So I try not to feed into my visuals. So I don't yell. But some people need to be directly guided. Some people need to be indirectly guided. Some people I have to put a timer on how long they're allowed to talk. Because they'll try to talk in between things and not do things. It's all very individualized. Everything works. It's just what's going to work best for you in that moment. And a lot of times they evolve. Mandy, who's probably my top female powerlifter, she started off with I want to lose weight, and that's what she was there for. Couldn't do a sit-up, couldn't do a plank for very long, and she's pulled 400 pounds, qualified for IPL North Americas. So a lot of the times my hope is that when people get there, we get them healthy and then they evolve into something else that makes them happy. Because the gym I work there and I'm not happy. I hate working out. It's a job now. So I try to get them to find something, whether it's the running or the one lady, she just likes to skate. And she didn't think she could ever skate again. She had fallen and she had a bad hip. And I was like, well, hold on, give me like 3 months to work on this. And I was like, all right, so could you go skate? And she went and she skated and she loved it. And now anytime the weather's nice, goes to the peninsula, skates all around the peninsula. That makes me more happy. You can't prove it though. It's not like a numerical data thing. I can't be like, oh,
Right.
look what she did. Right. But those are the things that really make the day worth it when a 65-year-old woman is like, I haven't skated in 20 years. I had a lady that said, she told me I walked around my pasture for the first time in 30 years because it's uneven and she was unsure. She's like, it was just nice to walk out to my horses. Those are the things that really get my heart going. And the training's different for every single person. So it's kind of a hard answer to give because it really depends on the day. Okay. It really does. Yeah.
All right. So hypothetically speaking, my wife likes to walk, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's a walker. I am not. However, I am thinking about it because as the me 2 years ago was on a pickleball court, the me this summer, I don't want to do anything right now. Yeah. And a lot of it is, so in my case, I feel like I'm always busy. Mm-hmm. Like I'm always like, I come in, I do office stuff during the day. At nighttime, I'm broadcasting kids. By the time I get done, like, I feel like there's no room in between for working out.
Right.
How would you recommend fixing that? And that's part A. Part B is there a program for like married couples to maybe work together?
Yep. Yeah. So with the first one, time management is huge. Time management is huge. There are days where I have clients for 15 hours. And I still have to get something in. So it's kind of one of those things where you just put it in there as a non-option. It just must happen. So like some people, you'll look, they're easy examples because everyone knows who they are. So like Marky Mark, he gets up at like 3 a.m. and gets stuff done. The Rock has a gym that travels with him so he can get stuff done. But normal people like us, that's not the way it works. So sometimes it's just a matter of planning it, putting it in the planner and not allowing anything to get in its way. And pickleball, man, I tell you what, that is a heck of a workout. I mean, that is a cardio, not my thing. I left that 100 pounds ago. But that's a fun sport. And I feel like even just finding the thing that makes you happy, it'll feel forced at first, but it won't eventually. But you have to have people around, especially with pickleball. You got to find the group that will always be there. And the thing with the wife, and it plays into that, people are more successful in groups because they rely on each other.
Right.
It's the way the fitness industry is going anyway. You know, we had the big push in the 80s where jogging got very popular, jazzercise, all that stuff got very popular. Lifting was kind of popular. A lot of those things lose their popularity as the gimmick wears off. But whatever makes you happy, you just got to make sure that's the goal. So if you love pickleball, you just got to make that time. You got to say, hey, Dewey, we got to play at noon on this day. That's the only time I have. And, that's what you need. You need that group that's like, all right, noon, pickleball. That's what we're doing. As a basketball player, I hate that you're on my court. playing pickleball instead of me playing basketball on it. But you got to find that place in that group. And with the wife training, that's fantastic, because especially if it's done in the right environment, you will find that it's like a date. It's really a moment to find admiration in each other and rely on each other, because you're like, listen, I don't feel like going. I have a headache. Well, we both got to go. Otherwise, Rich is going to beat the crap out of just me, and I don't want that. So it's such a great thing to share with people. I unfortunately lift alone for the most part. It is dangerous, first of all. But when I do have a group, sometimes I travel to Ohio to work out with people. It's just different. It hits different when you're with a good group of people, and you have to rely on each other, and it's consistent. And after a very short amount of time, it just is. And then it's no longer plan it. It's just, all right, Thursdays, noon, this is what I do. Hey, can you do an appointment? Nope. I'm booked. I'm booked at noon. I can't. I have to.
So put it on the calendar. And
yeah, it's kind of just a mindset thing of, this is important. I'm important. I want to live longer. I want to spend as much time with my wife and my people as possible. And there's just not enough. There's no evidence that suggests otherwise. Exercise will extend your enjoyable lifespan. And you deserve that. Your wife deserves that. Your friends deserve that. The kids deserve that. So it's mostly just care enough about yourself like we do and get it done, man. Play some pickleball.
Yeah. Well, it's the competitive bone in my body that's
what's great.
You can ask him. I get brutal. on a pickleball court. I've got probably the nastiest serve in this area, at least.
Do we have leagues around here?
We don't have leagues, but we do have people that do show up from time to time.
Yeah.
And we used to have a big group. Last year,
Saturday mornings.
Started the fade. Yeah, it was usually Saturday around 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Which I'm now here doing a podcast most of the time. So it's like, okay, when could we do it? And then, but we have people that play all the time. Warren's got a beautiful facility, 8 courts.
Oh,
They're professional pickleball courts.
Wow.
We play at Mead Park on tennis courts that's got cracks and bumps.
Yeah.
And, so, I mean, Corey could use better pickleball courts. And I think that would probably encourage me a little bit to get out more, right? So
the space does matter.
Yeah.
And the environment around that space. That's something sometimes people also, if you go somewhere enough with intention, you create an aura in that space that every time you're in there, that's your intention. So I love to think that's what my gym is. You walk in there and the first thing you feel is my intensity. I'm there to dominate, obliterate, destroy goals and opponents, and hopefully that's what you feel when you come in there. And then after a little while, when I learn your real name and I get rid of your nickname, maybe you learn that I'm not such a mean guy after that.
Well, hey, we're going to take a break, and we're going to talk about them people that might think you're a mean guy when they first meet you.
Yeah.
But the results that they've been getting all around District 10 have been phenomenal. We're going to talk about our Corey athletes working at Lifted Health with trainer Rich and that whole scenario. We'll be back right after this. Got to pay some bills. Thank you to our sponsors. We'll be back right after this. Why should you choose Corey Federal Credit Union? Since 1958, Corey Federal Credit Union has been committed to your community, your hometown, and to you. CFCU has accounts for all your needs like checking, savings, youth accounts, business accounts, money market, CDs, IRAs, and HSAs with rates that work for you. They have unbeatable loan rates for auto, mortgage, signature, line of credit, and business loans. They have you covered. Corey Federal Credit Union, your hometown credit union, located at 728 Worth Street in Corey, 56 North Main Street in Union City, and 315 Main Street in Spartansburg. Federally insured by NCUA, equal housing lender. Membership eligibility required.
I do this because I love it. I love working with my hands. I love working with people. I love watching things transform from what they used to be to what we can make them become. We are a full-service general contractor. We do everything from the ground up. We take pride in the fact that we don't use a lot of subcontractors. We have our own in-house masons, cement, roofers, siders, drywall finishing, electricians. This is our 20th year in business, And we started out with just a couple of guys with a cordless kit and a ladder. We've grown from there. We really try to focus on quality of work, quality over quantity. Things don't always happen overnight, and it takes time to make things perfect. We run our business like a business. Everything that we do is professional. With a phone call to us, we would set up a meeting for us to come out and meet with you, go over your project, what you are hoping to gain from it, the things that you want to see input into it. And then I would create a proposal. We would send it out to you. You'd let us know your thoughts, whatever things that we got correct, whatever things need to be worked on. And then we would grow it into exactly what you want. Our employees mean the world to us. We couldn't do what we do without the guys that we have. And we take pride in the fact that most of the guys that have been here for a very long time. If you're looking to have a project done, feel free to reach out to us.
There'd be a lot of things that didn't get accomplished if it wasn't for Corey Community Foundation. They've just really been a driver behind improving the community.
3 of the organizations that I'm heavily involved with get assistance, get advisement, along with grants from the Corey Community Foundation. Without their help, there are many things in the Corey area that would not happen.
Organizations know that they are backed up, that they have somewhere to go if necessary for their funds.
CCF can help coordinate funds with other major donors and groups like ECRA and the Erie Community Foundation, and helping us get grants, matching dollar grants. So it's a way to compound our impact.
It needs an organization that's trying to make things happen.
So by going through the Corey Community Foundation, it will ensure that our money gets put in the places we care about here within Corey.
You don't have to be a millionaire. You can leave a couple $100, you could leave a couple $1,000, you can leave whatever. When everybody pulls together, it makes a big difference.
Your money is long going to outlive you for the benefit and the good of the community. And so I have comforts in knowing that CCF, long after Brad and I are gone, is that we're still going to be able to provide value to Corey just by even giving a little bit to the Corey Community Foundation.
Hi everybody, Rich here from the Performance Center.
Located at 11323 Route 6 in Corey, Lifted Health is owned and operated by Rich Gawlinski. Open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Friday, and 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Saturdays. Lifted Health offers personal training, classes, sports-specific rehab, functional training, and nutrition. Text Rich today at 814-323-6154 or message Lifted Health on Facebook at facebook.com/Lifted Barbell Club. And welcome back here to the Deej Peeps podcast with a special guest, Mr. Rich Gawlinski from Lifted Health. And as we welcome you in here to the Rossbacker Studios, Deej Peeps podcast brought to you by Dynasty Construction. And we were just talking during the break about wrestling in general. Dewey is not a big wrestling guy unless it's on a mat with no ropes.
Oh, so real wrestling. Okay.
I call it the opposite.
Yeah.
I like the term amateur wrestling.
Yeah, it's more appropriate.
Non-choreographed.
Well, Mr. Non-choreographed, it's still real.
I was going to say, I've had more concussions training for that than I've had in any sport, so it hurts.
Don't get me wrong. I've never said that those that WW or whatever wrestling.
WWE.
They're not. Well, when I first
it's not
started
the
watching
World Wildlife Federation. They got sued over it.
Those people that do that, they're full-fledged athletes. Some of the moves that they do and the things that they do inside the squared circle is quite amazing. So I give them all the credit for the things that they do there, but just not my cup of tea.
I could talk wrestling all day long.
Absolutely. We could have a whole podcast about it.
we could.
Yeah.
Real quick. because it has been such a big thing over the last couple weeks. The Cena heel turn. What do you think?
That was art. That was beautiful art is what that was. You can't end your career as a face. It just doesn't make sense. So him and The Rock getting together and the way he turned on, it made Cody relevant.
Well, here's what it did, right?
It.
You keep your baby face the baby face.
Yeah.
Cena's going out anyways.
Mm-hmm.
He's the biggest star in the company in like
Right.
30 years, right?
Yeah.
So now you got twofold. You team them up with The Rock, and now they're like the mega bad guys.
Right.
And to me, it was equivalent to the Hogan leg drop.
Yeah.
At Bash at the Beach,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. They're telling a story that's been told and it worked. And the thing is, right now, you have even Ric Flair going online saying he might help Cody, which sets the tone up for what if Rick helps John win that last title? I mean, the things you could do there are incredible.
These storylines, and give credit to Shawn Michaels and Triple H, right?
Oh my
Coming up
gosh,
through that
yes.
NXT. These new kids, I mean, this is a new brand of wrestling. It's
Right.
not like you had the Attitude Era. After the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression, I mean, it just felt like it all went kind of PG baby.
Vince needed to step aside. His storytelling had been outdated, and I think Hunter is the guy to do it. He's more approachable. Everybody says it. You can talk to him about things. He appreciates the art form. Sean is the same way. Sean's a small guy.
Because they lived it, right?
Sean was a small guy who succeeded in a monster industry at the time. He'd fit in great now, but at the time he was a very small guy. And I just think that they have a different look. And because they were normal people with problems, they maybe don't judge the talent so quickly, whereas Vince maybe did. And they just seem like maybe better people in general.
I could bring him on every week. Just maybe we'll just do like a wrestling podcast.
I'm down for it.
That would be.
I'm down for it.
Get a wrestling ring. We'll just set up inside the wrestling ring and just have a weekly wrestling podcast.
I'll take random bumps every time you say something. I'll take a bump. Pay us, throw a donation out, $100 front bump, $200 back bump, headshot with a chair. This is how we'll get some money, guys.
Yes.
Who doesn't want to see me get hit?
Yes.
They're lining up already.
My cell phone's buzzing, so something good's happening.
All right, well, let's get to the reason why we're here today, and that, of course, I got the picture right now of you up in your red shirt with the entire volleyball team flexing. It was a phenomenal season for those girls. I am going to deathly miss this senior class. Kelly was in here when he presented us with the state runner-up medal, which about brought me to tears. And you talk about class act coach, right? Gave medals to everybody who was involved with the program, right?
That's a different human right there.
But that team in general, and when he was here, he's like, I think we have the potential to be better next year than we do this year. And I'm like, and my mind automatically is like, what?
Yeah, no, it is absolutely 100%.
And then you get thinking, you look how much they've grown from last year to this year.
Yeah.
What's this team going to do from this year to next year, right? So, phenomenal season from volleyball. The wrestlers, you worked with them. So
football, wrestling,
football team. What a game, right? That Fort LaBeouf game. We talked to Zach Turbin at the basketball banquet. He was our sportsmanship award winner this year for the basketball season, and man, and I call it the kick heard round District 10.
Yeah, what a great way to win that.
Just pouring rain. It was phenomenal, but again, that senior class, there are a special group of kids, and they have really set the tone for this younger generation coming up through. So let's talk about your work with whichever way you want to take this, Rich. You worked with a lot of them kids. Volleyball especially was
volleyball was special.
I felt you really hit the scene in Corey athletics last year.
Yeah.
So what's the stick? How do you get these coaches to get on board with this?
Well, in case the people at home don't notice, I am not visually probably what you would think should be brought into a girls volleyball program. But Kelly is he's a mastermind, but he and actually most of every coach I work with, they appreciate the opportunity that they have to help these kids obtain tools to win in life and in their sport. And you can't really say that you're trying to do that if you're not bringing in the most qualified, best people to do that. And Kelly was able to look past the harder outer shell and looked at the resume, and we had a very brief conversation at Gigi's, and he gave me an opportunity. And I had worked with the wrestlers in the summer prior to that, but that's not leading to the season. So there was only really so much that I could really take credit with or for when I had worked with them so long before their season. But he was the first coach to bring me into the school to work with the girls. And I tell you what, his program, him and wrestling, they have such an amazing program set up top to bottom. Kelly is in charge from the time they get in to the time they leave, and the girls are just great humans. He makes them make eye contact. He makes them say thank you. He teaches them to be better people. Whether they accept the lessons or not is up to them. But that group of girls that you're talking about, those seniors, most of them focused solely on volleyball. I had a lot of the girls all year. A lot of the kids that I work with, I see them periodically. I had volleyball girls that literally were with me from the moment I got hired to the end of this past season. So a year and a half of work that we put in weekly. And those girls just have a different mindset. And I think it's because the way the program's set up. There was I've never heard complaining. I know that I was told that complaining happened, but I never heard it. And they worked really hard. And the senior class knew that they were shorter, so they needed to make up for it in other ways. And they had heart, and they had super high IQ, which again, that's the program. They understood what they needed to do. But like Kelly said, we have a group coming in, and I'm not a volleyball guy, so this is just me. We have taller people that maybe they're not in some ways equal, but in other ways they've got their own tools. And I think you're going to see an offensive powerhouse, whereas last year we were just overall a better team. I think we're going to
we were athletic,
right? I think
year.
We're going to overwhelm them offensively with what we have. I can't speak higher of, I call her Maui, but Moo Mau. She's a fantastic human, and she's very athletic. And Grace Reagan has a cannon on her. I don't know if you've heard the sound that she creates when she hits the ball. You've got Nickerson, who is just an athlete in general.
Farm strong.
Right,
Rob
and you know
calls
what?
her.
The thing that people sometimes maybe don't get to, her smile. She brings an energy when she's being herself. She brings an energy. She's just excited. And that kind of changes the mood for everybody. Minio works really hard, and she's very athletic. You might not know it, but she's very, very athletic. She works extremely hard. Not that everyone doesn't, but I've worked with her a lot, and I've never seen her not do something with 100% effort, which is not something that can be said about everyone, including myself. There are days I don't put 100% in. She does. Bailey McRae is working really hard to get her athleticism up. She's getting up there. She's fast. I think Brindley is just an uncontrollable wave of athleticism. If she could focus that into a movement, she's ungodly athletic. We have a lot of tools, and then we have taller people come in. Lauren Brundage is very, very tall. She lives volleyball. The underclassmen, there's some tall. Liv is very, very tall. We've got an opportunity, I think. And with Kelly, he's rebuilt how many times? Every time.
Never. He reloads.
Right, exactly.
He never rebuilds. He reloads.
He's such a high quality. That coaching staff is special. And it would be odd to even ponder what are we going to do, because you've got all the tools you need. And I'm just blessed that he considers me a tool worthy of being part of that program. Yeah, because they're amazing. Yeah. They really are.
Kelly, in that program, and these guys heard it before. I started with WWCB Radio. They wouldn't cover volleyball. They would only do football.
Okay.
Because football made money.
Yeah.
to me, you put the people first, the money will come if it's going to the proper places, right?
Right.
So that has been our motto. We started doing volleyball. Kelly wrote a check at the end of that year. I still have them. They're going in the case with the rest of it. But and then the boosters wrote me a check. We bought this guy that is here, and that's where it all started.
Yep.
And awesome people, fantastic coaching staff.
Yeah, the Good Cells, the Allens, the Dines, I mean, they do so much to help the town and the kids and help people like us that they don't need us, but we do have some enhancement quality. And then we do our best to try and just pay them back for the opportunity.
Yeah. And you want to talk about a group of people that lifts everybody up and lifts the town. They basically put the town on their shoulders when they need it.
Yeah. Yeah. We have it. I mean, we're special. We're a special town.
So the football team signed up this year with you.
Yeah, that was so I was asked, and I'm very competitive. Very, very competitive, overly competitive. I don't let my daughter beat me in anything. I destroy her, and then I make fun of her because I beat her. So I'm very competitive. So when the football team approached me and I saw 3 wins, I was like, do I want to do this? And I knew I could. Because of what he was asking me for. I knew I could obtain that. And we worked really, really hard on the line. Because one of the things we talked about was running. He was like, well, I can't trust my line. We can't run if we don't have a line. So I was like, all right, well, that's where I'm going to hyper-focus. I'm going to hyper-focus on making these linemen higher quality. We changed the program from maybe a powerlifting program, which you would think me being that, I'd be down for it. Nope. I completely eliminated it. We did almost no deadlifting. The bench was situational appropriate. We did a ton of plyometrics. We did preventative things for injuries, and everyone saw enormous strength and agility and speed gains, which was what we needed. But also, the guys that showed up were tougher because there was nothing you could put them through that I didn't just. The first day we had 7 people thrown up. One kid threw up out of the top window of the building, and I saw it come down. I was like, well, good. That's rub some dirt on it, boys.
Goal achieved.
Right, rub some dirt on it. And they just did so well. The kids that showed up, it was not always fun. It was not always easy. I don't try to make it that way. And I told them first day, and I tell everyone it, I don't care who you are. I don't care who your parents think they are. I'm going to treat you exactly the way you treat this process. If you put 100% into it, I'm going to put 100% into you. I don't care what that means. If it means you just get one moment, then great. It was worth it for me. So those kids put a lot of work in this summer. Very proud of them. The coaching staff was very accommodating. We had 5 or 6 coaches at the facility, half outside, half inside. I took care of the weight resistance stuff. They took care of the plyometric stuff. They continued that process into the season. And I think 3 wins to 9 wins. Could have been 10 wins, which would have made us the winningest Corey team in history, right? But that was a huge turnaround, and the team and the town deserved it because football is just one of those sports that towns define themselves.
Everybody gravitates towards it.
Right, and we deserved it. Corey deserves to be able to take pride in these things, and I think that was one of the things I really focused on was reinstituting pride. A lot of the kids had gotten into a complacent, okay, well, we lost. Nope. That's not how this is going to work with me.
Again, it's a culture change.
Right. So we toughened it up, and I really think they did obviously they did amazing. 9-win season, won a playoff game, and they had their moments, and I'm very proud to have gotten to be a part of that. The coaching staff were just fantastic. I talk with the head coach frequently. I go there in the mornings to do the morning lifting right now as much as I can. Next year is rebuilding. Obviously, like you said, that senior class, just like volleyball, we're losing some pieces. But, I think that's what's going to show is the true value here. We did it once. Do the kids want it? There's only so much coaches can do.
Right.
I want it. I want to go out there and win it for you. I want to go take some people's heads off, but I need you to do that. So I'm going to do my best to give you the tool for that. So it'll be exciting to see how football does. I mean, the fact that Nolan was Region Player of the Year, all district, Kale, all district, that's huge. Those are huge, and those are good kids too. They deserved it.
Yeah. You two are quiet. I don't like it. Why don't you start firing some questions away? Because I'm getting tired over here carrying you guys around.
You are tired of talking? You?
Yes. Yeah.
I never thought I'd hear the day.
The one thing I like that I
You see what I have to put up with?
I'm offended for you. I am offended for you. How dare you?
How dare
we all
you?
agree, but
Oh, I didn't say you're wrong. New age. I'm offended. That's your truth.
The one thing I keep hearing over and over again throughout these podcasts and these conversations that we have with different coaches and whatnot, this whole community is looking to make these kids better individuals for society.
Yeah.
And you see it year after year as we graduate, class after class. These kids are exceptional human beings as they move forward, and it's because of this community.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just the fact that that's a goal. You know, a lot of coaching, I think in other places, the goal is winning, and that's the sole focus. But I think our goal here is tools. It's tools that will help you win, but tools that'll make you a better human. Kelly is very big on that. You know, in every program I work with, at some point, the coach is talking about this is a lesson you need to learn, not just because of here, but what it'll do to carry over in your life. Sometimes you just got to deal with stuff not going your way.
Yeah, you're going to be at work.
Are you going to hide in the corner, or are you going to try and fight back? So it's a great opportunity for us who have made mistakes to help them not make the same mistakes. Yeah.
now you give a lot to everybody, right? The community, the students, the kids, the players, and whatnot. How do you balance that, like, with yourself?
I'm a psychopath.
Okay.
I don't balance it at all. I wake up in the middle of the night because of what I didn't do well enough for me, for my family, for the kids. You know, there are a lot of times like basketball. I feel like I let them down. We had 4 kids dunk a basketball. I didn't let them down, but I also didn't make enough of an impact that I felt like I could have or should have. So I lose sleep over it. I know they did great. I know they did well. They were a young team. They didn't have a lot of playing experience, but I feel like I could have done better. And I hope that the kids give me a chance to do better. Even the volleyball team, I don't know how we could have done better, but I think about moments where I let somebody go less. Because I'm like, oh, I understand. You know, it's Friday. It kind of stinks. So there's not really I'm not done. I can't balance this out until I've achieved the end goal, which is giving back something that, because I don't deserve the business I have. I don't deserve the life I have that Corey gave me. I don't deserve the opportunities to go out there and win things, but Corey keeps giving it to me. So I don't think I deserve to balance it until I've given it back yet. So I have plans, and hopefully I'll be able to do that, but it's rough. It's rough. I'm exhausted a lot. I work a lot of hours. I work a lot of weird hours. I'm always trying to learn. I'm not a volleyball guy, but I watch a lot of volleyball so that I can even try to keep up somehow when Kelly says things. In football, I did the same thing. I reached out to a lot of people. When I worked with wrestling, I reached out to a lot of people. I talked to Kurt Angle for about an hour just to ask him about conditioning things. I do my best to try and at some point even the scales out, because Corey's given me more than I'll ever deserve. But there's not a balance yet. Well, when I do what I'm here for, I'll worry about that balance. But right now, I haven't earned it yet. Still I have nights that I'm not allowed to sleep yet. I haven't earned that yet.
I've had some of those nights, probably not to the scale that you have, but it's just, to me, when you see the end result in these kids and the willingness to put the work in to make themselves better, that alone,
that's big.
It you see The Rock come out and he's like, it just gives me those goosebumps where these kids want to do the work.
Right.
I wish I could turn the clock back 22 years and put that work in now that you see what can become of it.
Yeah.
But again, it's the support system, the people you have around you.
Yep.
You can't do what you do without the support system.
Right.
I can't do what I do without the sports system. None of us can. Surround yourself with good people. Corey's got a lot of good people, and these kids are
absolutely
just shoveling the gold
Yeah.
into their treasure chest, and man, they are making the most of it. So
yeah, I mean, we've got wrestling. I got to work with 2 region champions, volleyball 2 region champions, district champ, state runner-up, football region champion. I mean, that's just 3 years. 3 years of working with people. Like you said, I wish I had had a coach my potential, not my capability.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things I can bring, because my job is not wins and losses. My job is potential. So you can focus on what they need to do right now. I can focus on what they should be able to do tomorrow. And I think that's where it's a nice balance, and hopefully I'm able to obtain that with most of my people.
Well, we're going to throw some video up here. And these are just, this is Hallie jumping pylos in the box. Tremendous work ethic from that kid. You see it all the time. This is, again, the girls jumping from their knees to their feet just to improve their vertical, right?
Right.
Endurance is huge. That's where I think, Dewey, you and I have noticed the endurance of these kids this year. They don't get tired.
Yeah, we said a couple of times in some of the volleyball and basketball games that we did that, it was third quarter or it was the second set or whatever, and you're looking at the girls and they didn't even broke a sweat yet.
Yeah.
And they've played hard for 2/3 of the game of the match or whatever, and they look like they just walked out onto the floor for the first opening tip or whatever, and they looked very well conditioned, and they looked like they were looking for somebody to push them even more, and I'm sure we said it on the broadcast that it was in direct relation to their relationship with what you've done with them. So they looked fresh.
Yeah, I tried to train them like boxers. If you're boxing for 12 rounds, it was in a Rocky movie. To box 50 minutes, you have to train 5,500 minutes. So though they never need to be able to run that long, I would make them do 4 lines. First day of practice, last 2 years have been purposely the worst experience of your life. But in doing that and setting that tone when they get to games, it's easy. They're fine. There was a basketball game I went to this year where the other team at the end of the second quarter was, maybe it was Franklin, they were breathing heavy. Their faces were flushed, and we were not. We were fine. So it's just a matter of executing at that point. You don't have to worry about physical limitations at that time.
It's the mindset that just, it baffles me, because we go back and we look even 5 years ago, like our girls basketball team, it was not anywhere near close to what it is today. Football can be the same way, right? You go back 5 years ago, there's not even a talk of us going to the playoffs.
Right.
The kids have come in, put in more, and credit to you and credit to the coaching staffs, and just I'm amazed at the results we're seeing, and we still got a season to go.
Yeah.
This is a young baseball team, right?
I'm excited about this. I think this is going to be good.
I think they're going to jump, and with the region change, so they're not playing Prep twice.
Right.
They're not playing McDowell twice. They're not playing Warren twice. Granted, we have Warren on the schedule once, I think, but this is an opportunity, because I think that's a fine balance there too, right? Your schedule makes a difference, because if you're in with teams that you can compete with,
right,
now that makes you want to work harder to beat them.
Yeah.
But if you're like, oh God, we're playing Prep, it's almost like you're waving the towel before you even start.
Yeah, that's absolutely it.
Yeah,
I think that's to the point and kind of to the side. I know, like the volleyball team, I've never heard them say that. The girls don't have a team that they run into that's like, oh crap, we're going to get killed. That's a mindset thing. But when you have a team like Cathedral that had 3 or 4 Wake Forest commits on one team, and we did not have any of those, it is hard to get pumped up for it. But one of the things I try to make sure is that I don't care who you're going against. you'd better. It's time to play. I had somebody ask me, well, what, do you think you'd beat Kobe Bryant? No, I'm gonna try.
Right.
I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna just let it happen. And I think that when you build a certain mental toughness through strength and conditioning, you start to lean that way, where you're like, okay, I'm gonna take a swing though. I'm still going to swing at it. And I think that this is a good time because we had the region change. The boys are buying into it. I got to work a little bit more on their resisted strength than I got to work with basketball, just because the skill sets are very different. If you lift too much, it can throw your shot off if you aren't getting the right amount of shots, whereas the same kind of work for baseball is actually fully beneficial as long as you're not hitting shoulders too hard, or you don't want to do that because of their throwing. They're already seeing carryover in the cage. I'm excited. I think Jacob's going to, he has things figured out. At least he sounds like it. I like what I hear. He's a great coach, and I think the kids hopefully are taking an opportunity to take a step back and go, okay, this is our chance to show our value in a more fair light. And we're putting the work in. The boosters are paying for this torture before practices, and I'm excited about it. The things I see, Chamberlain's a stud. There's a kid I was telling you about when I got here. I call him Baby Ruth. His mindset, day one to the last week, was exactly what I do this for. For day one, I can't do push-ups. Can I do something else? Can I go to do wall sits? And obviously I told him no, but then we worked on the field Monday, and it was freezing, and I was having him do some pretty terrible things on the field, and he was willing to stay out there in the middle of the dark to finish it because that's his change. He's an evolved athlete, and I don't even care if he never hits the ball. I'm very proud that we even had that moment together.
That's big, and it's amazing what the mind does to you.
Yeah.
If you don't have the right mindset, you've lost coming out of the gate.
Right.
You've got to flip that switch in your mind that says, okay, I can do this. Mm-hmm. Now somebody gives you tools to enable you to do it and do it better as you go along. You can see, man, the confidence in these kids, how they project themselves in a social setting, right?
Yeah.
They're very respectful. They're very polite. A lot of that, kudos to the parents, kudos to the coaches.
Right.
But they have to give themselves credit, too, for wanting to have that for themselves.
Yeah. In my facility, the parents don't even come in. It's the kids by themselves or in a group, but mostly, it's not their coaches aren't there making them do it. Their parents aren't making sure they're doing it. It's them choosing it. I'm one of those trainers where you don't want to work. All right, I got paid. I'll tell you what to do. You want to put less in? I'll tell you 1 or 2 times, man, you're not working hard. But after that, okay, that's what you want. And it never happens. The kids never have that. They just put the work in.
So how did a lot of what you do is individual training on people. Mm-hmm. Where did you develop how to read somebody and figure out what they actually are coming to you for?
Yeah.
Because I think that's a big thing that you do. You read people extremely well.
Yeah.
You get underneath their skin and you find how they tick. And where did all that come from?
Well, I've been an athlete for 20 years now, and so I've been destroying myself mentally and physically. So I have an understanding that is maybe different than other people because I'm not coming into it as a used to. I'm coming into it as a still. So I'm still learning. But on top of that, when you're different, like me, where maybe I'm not everyone's cup of tea, you have to learn to read the room, to be welcomed into the room. So over time, I've just learned through myself and watching people around me and my workout partners and the people I interact with. It's kind of like now I'm just a fitness salesman. I can read what you need me to say to sell you this. But that's a good thing, I think, because I think some of the kids that were like me maybe got pushed aside because no one understood what they needed. They didn't understand how to read it. Whereas I sit back and go, no, I get you, man. I get you. You don't know your greatness. Mm-hmm. You don't know let me tell you it. Let me show you it, more importantly, because they're just kids that they're not naturally gifted. But if they put the work in, because they're willing to, they can do amazing things. I was a runner, 160-pound runner, and now I'm a world champion powerlifter, and I'm not strong. I'm just stubborn. I'm just very stubborn. I refuse to believe that there's nothing I cannot achieve. And I think that when the kids see that and they hear the praises and they maybe hear the things I say they don't like, it culminates into you're going to be made or broken. Like the boys dunking. This is more me blowing smoke for myself, but I'm going to do it. So I had 4 of the boys dunk at a practice, and I was very excited about that. But I was like, hold on a minute. You're not doing stuff I can't do. So I spent 2 weeks training, and then I dunked the ball. And I was like, yeah, 240. I can dunk 240. 48 years old, retired. I just threw it down, big man. But I think that that rubs off a little bit. They can see, hopefully, they can see that the person telling them this isn't blowing smoke up them because it's the expectation for my position. It's because I truly believe in them. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's all it takes is someone to say, listen, I believe in you.
Yeah.
Let me show you how great you are. And if it's someone as stubborn as me that won't quit and won't let you quit, good things are inevitable.
Yeah. And it takes one person.
Yeah.
One person can change your life.
Yeah, my wife was that person.
Yeah.
Without her, I wouldn't be able to do any of this. I mean, she keeps me very grounded. I'm reminded how great I am not when I go home and the dishes aren't done. I am reminded. Yeah.
Same way here.
Right.
Because
thank God for them.
These guys tell me I have a big head all the time.
Yeah.
And she's the first one with the pin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, my wife, if you come up and compliment anything that I've done, my wife will go, oh, great. Now I'm going to have to hear about this.
Yeah, same.
Well,
I like this. Same.
Yeah.
So whether you guys know it or not, Rich and I have a lot in common.
Didn't notice.
Clearly.
A lot in common. Not physically, but growing up. So growing up, he went through the same struggles I did. There was moments where we're both in our car.
Yeah.
Living, right?
Dodge Neon.
Dodge
Neon outside of Absolute.
I had a Dodge Duster outside of a McDonald's parking lot where I worked 40 hours a week. I would get done work. I would go to my car. And
yeah, it was not the funnest thing living outside of Absolute. A little bit of winter time, and everyone could see all my stuff in the car. It was a little embarrassing, but I knew I could do this. I knew I could make this work. So, again, stubborn. Very stubborn, and eventually I just made it work, but I would not want to go. I can sleep anywhere now, though.
Yeah.
Because if you can sleep in the back seat of a Dodge Neon at 230 pounds, you can sleep anywhere.
Yeah, this is a true story. So, the parallels on each of our professional levels, and all it took was that one person.
Yeah.
So my message out there to anybody watching is if you love something, find someone to encourage you. And it just has to be the one person. Have that person pour into you. And if they're not pouring into you, then they're not that person. But find that one thing you love, you're passionate about, and run with it. Because eventually someone's going to see it, and they're going to start pouring into you and your ability and make you better. Yeah. And I think there's no better place on the planet than the smallest little city in the world, right here in Corey. So, we're already at 10 after 12. This has flown by. And, Rich, we're going to have to get together and talk about doing a wrestling podcast, I think
we've already got it figured out.
Yeah. It's coming because Dewey refuses to talk WWE with me.
Well, he's the one throwing the chair shots at me. All right. I'll get some gimmick barbed wire. I'll fall on it. Listen, we can make some money, guys.
That would be great. I think we should chair shot him once just for not believing.
With a gimmick chair. We'll gimmick it, maybe.
Maybe. You won't know until it hits you.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out in the moment.
Heads, you take this chair. Tails, you take the real one. So, okay, lastly, before we get out of here, Rich, how does one go about contacting you if they want to get involved and have your personal training or program, whatever? How do they get a hold of you?
Facebook is probably the best way, just because the app reminds me to respond because I'm always working. So sometimes if you text me, I'll forget to respond. But I think really at this point, and I'm going to push the product a little bit, the best thing is to talk to your coaches and just try and get them involved with me. That's what has been working best. I work with a lot of individuals and we have a lot of success, but I think it's probably beneficial for everyone overall, not just price wise, but with the results when entire programs are reaching out. So,
all right. Want to thank you, sir, for the work that you're doing with our kids and within the community. It's great stuff. Keep it up. Try and get some sleep.
Yeah. Going back to the gym and working out when we're done here.
Yeah, there you go. Guys, anything from you before we get out of here for today?
I think we're good.
You're good?
Good, yeah.
They're
We're
good?
good.
They're
We're
very
good.
quiet. They just sit back and let me jabber. I don't know why. Rob is a little more. He'll wedge his way in, but I don't know.
Well, we'll say when I walked in, you have a very nice vehicle down in the parking lot. That kind of caught my eye as I was walking by it.
I'm a flashy guy. I got a Ray Lewis Lifted Elite shirt on. I got the truck with the unnecessary chrome rims on it.
Did you get out of the truck and do the Ray dance every time you get out of it?
Do you not get out of your car and do it that way? That's weird. I feel like if you're not doing it, I actually was listening to him before I got out of the car. I love that guy.
Yeah, of course you do. He's an intense individual.
He is.
So,
I can appreciate that.
All right, that's going to wrap us up for today's podcast. Thank you for all those who watched or who will watch in the future, because we get a lot of views at night. People go back and watch. So keep doing what you're doing, Rich. We appreciate you and your talents and what you bring to the Corey area. Wednesday kicks us off baseball, softball season. Baseball will head to the road. They'll play Erie. And softball will host the Fort LaBeouf Bison. It's going to be a fun week, weather pending. So, for Dewey Hurd, Stephen Mountain, I'm Scott Lockwood. Thank you to our special guest, Lifted Health's own Rich Gawlinski. Until next time, God bless you all. Have a great day.
Hi, everybody. Rich here from the Performance Center.
Located at 11323 Route 6 in Corey, Lifted Health is owned and operated by Rich Gawlinski. Open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Friday, and 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Saturdays. Lifted Health offers personal training, classes, sports-specific rehab, functional training, and nutrition. Text Rich today at 814-323-6154 or message Lifted Health on Facebook at facebook.com/Lifted Barbell Club.